The Kardashian family is known to be very tight-knit and protective of one another, but that doesn't mean they don't enjoy teasing each other from time to time. They are even capable of pulling off some epic pranks. We'll go over some of their craziest antics and let you know which family member is the queen of pranks. Before we begin, make sure to click subscribe for more from the taco. And later on, check out our friends over at Crafty Hackers for the latest in DIY. And they might even teach you a few pranks of your own. Now, let's get started. Cake smash. This prank might just be our favorite because of poor Kris Jenner's reaction face. Many people consider the family matriarch to be the one pulling the strings when it comes to her family, but it seems as though her kids don't feel that way since Kris Jenner is more often than not the butt of all of their jokes. One of Kris's schemes was to tell her daughters that their siblings had purchased her expensive gifts. She hoped this would inspire them to purchase even more extravagant presents for her, but it didn't quite work out how she had hoped. Instead, the girls conspired against her and plotted some sweet revenge. They bought a cake topped with cookies reading "Sweet Revenge." And how does payback taste? Kim Kardashian plays decoy by embracing her mother and thanking her for being herself. Then Khloe swoops in and drops the cake right on Kris's head. When it comes to pranks, this one was pretty simple, but that doesn't mean it wasn't hilarious. Kris demanded to know what's wrong with Khloe when the girls revealed they knew what Kris had been doing all along. Kim claims she showed them how to bribe, lie, and scam, but Kris just maintains those are important life lessons. Khloe then launches a second cake at her mother, and Kim tells her she can buy herself a mop to clean up the mess. The scribe. Understandably, sometimes Kris Jenner gets tired of being the focal point of her family's pranks, but sadly, sometimes she is just outwitted by her clever children. After the cake prank, you'd think she would have learned not to go toe-to-toe with her daughter, Khloe Kardashian. During an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kris Jenner hired a scribe to record all of her conversations. If this isn't a sign you have far too much money and self-importance, we just don't know what is. Anyway, Khloe decided to have some fun by saying all sorts of embarrassing things in front of the scribe. If he was going to maintain records of Kris Jenner's day-to-day life, she wanted to make sure they were as humorous and inaccurate as possible. After discussing some hilarious and vulgar medical conditions, Khloe made sure to claim that Kris Jenner needs to buy some more adult diapers. Needless to say, Kris was far from amused and wanted to turn the tables back onto Khloe Kardashian. She tried to turn the situation back around by saying that Khloe has head lice in front of her sister Kourtney Kardashian. However, you'd think she would know by now Khloe has no shame and would simply laugh it off. Chocolate surprise. Even though this prank didn't really get off the ground, we still have to give the girls an A for effort. We'd also like to give them some family therapy for thinking up this terrible yet hilarious prank. It's normal for older siblings to enjoy pranking younger ones, and this Kardashian family is no exception to this dynamic. One night, Khloe and Kourtney Kardashian decided to have some fun at the expense of their peacefully slumbering younger sister, Kendall Jenner. While the family is hanging out in Santa Barbara, Kendall turns in early to get some much-needed sleep. Almost immediately, Kourtney and Khloe plot and scheme about how they can use this to their advantage. Kourtney jokes that they could put a blueberry in their sister's butt, but Khloe thinks they can come up with something better. It turns out they can't, but they do tweak the plan to make it less morally dubious. They decide to put some chocolate in their sister's underwear so when she wakes up, she'll think she had an accident. But thankfully for Kendall, she's a light sleeper and awakens before Khloe and Kourtney can pull off their dastardly plan. The artist. While throwing cake at Kris Jenner is pretty funny, a truly great prank needs to be a bit more elevated. This masterful prank perpetuated by Scott Disick involved an impressive amount of planning and knowing your target. Kris Jenner had been interested in the world of art, and her daughter Khloe inquired about a piece hanging up in her office. Instead of educating Khloe on the painter, she made fun of Khloe for not knowing anything about the artist. Now, Scott Disick claims he was just trying to teach Kris a lesson for shaming Khloe, but we bet he was just looking for an excuse to pull off this prank. Scott hired an actor named Richardson Jones and convinces him to play a famous artist named Art Vandelay. Seinfeld fans may recognize this name as it's one attributed to a fictional character made by George Costanza. Then Scott introduces the actor portraying Art Vandelay to Kris Jenner, who was absolutely thrilled to meet him. They toured an art gallery together, and Kris was clearly impressed with Art's work, except for the fact that all of the paintings had actually been created by her own daughter, Khloe. Kris Jenner was totally fooled and learned an important lesson about not trying to art shame people in the future. Alarm clock prank. In this deleted scene from Keeping Up with the Kardashians, we see Scott Disick and Rob Kardashian working together to pull a prank on Khloe Kardashian. These are a couple of serious pranksters, and they definitely aren't just going to be covering Khloe in food. Instead, they gather up a ton of alarm clocks and program them to go off at very specific intervals of time. They hide them absolutely everywhere, including behind curtains and under ottomans. Everything seems nice and calm for a while until the alarms finally begin to sound off. At first, Khloe doesn't know what the noises, and Scott and Rob play dumb. Scott suggests it's a fire alarm, but Khloe knows they're up to something. She finds a single alarm clock and tells the guys she isn't impressed with their prank, but little does she know just how much clock she has to find. After enlisting the help of her sister Courtney to find and disarm the clocks, Khloe seems to find the whole thing funny. She asks the guys what the point of this was, but realizes there are still alarms going off. The sheer amount of alarm clocks Khloe had to find takes this prank to the next level. Hollywood tour. Being a member of the Kardashian family means going out in public is a huge hassle. They can't even run out to the grocery store without having a ton of paparazzi following them and being mobbed by fans. But one day, Khloe, Kylie, and Kendall decided to go deep undercover and see if they could fool their fans. Khloe went over the top by getting herself made up to look like an elderly woman who goes by the name Dolores. Kendall wears some prosthetics and a frizzy red wig, but her sister Kylie put the least effort into her transformation. Her plain Jane alter ego is basically herself without her carefully contoured face, plus a wig and a pair of glasses. Now that the girls had their disguises on and could move freely, where did they go? A Hollywood tour, of course. Using her best old lady voice, Khloe declared she didn't want to see anything having to do with the Kardashian family. Maintaining their ruse, the girls took time to joke with the people on the bus and pretended to be overly interested in the celeb hotspots they saw. Eventually, the girls tired of seeing how the other half lives and took off back to the Beverly Hills Hotel. Todd Cranes. The now infamous Todd Cranes prank might just be the most notable in the entire history of keeping up with the Kardashians. With so many different means of communication nowadays, most of us assumed prank phone calls were a thing of the past. But Scott Disick proved they were alive and well when he pulled a hilarious one on Kris Jenner. He called her up pretending to be a longtime family friend, Todd Cranes, using a hilariously high-pitched voice. At the time, Scott had never met Todd and only vaguely knew who he was. It turns out Todd Cranes was best friends with the late Robert Kardashian, the father of Kourtney, Khloe, and Kim. The original Todd Cranes prank phone call was hysterically funny, but what happened afterwards was even better. Naturally, the real Todd knew nothing about this and was quite confused when Kris Jenner called him demanding to know what he was doing. After the calls kept coming, Todd admits he got a little unnerved about what was really going on. But finally, Todd Cranes paid a much overdue visit to the family and even got to meet his impersonator, Scott Disick. They were able to laugh about Scott's over-the-top impression and even went on a family ski trip together. Decorations. Here we have an occasion where even Kris Jenner got to get in on the fun. The members of the Kardashian family claim that they rarely drink, but when they do, things can get out of hand pretty quickly. This evening started off with Khloe Kardashian feeling like the odd woman out when her sisters Kim and Kourtney were talking about their children. Back then, Khloe didn't have a child of her own and was feeling sad about being excluded. She turned to her mother, who as always was full of good ideas, and this time those ideas involved margaritas and lots of them. Although she was supposed to be cheering up Khloe, Kris did most of the drinking and decided it would be a great idea to pull a classic Halloween caliber prank on Kim Kardashian. The two headed to the store to stock up on shaving cream, toilet paper, and silly string with which to decorate Kim's yard. As they made their gateway, Kris wondered if Kim would know who vandalized her house. Khloe thought she might since she had written her name in shaving cream on her front gate. Needless to say, Kim Kardashian wasn't impressed, and Kris Jenner had quite the hangover the next day. Placenta prank. There's no doubt Kourtney and Kim Kardashian bonded over their children for a long period of time. While Khloe might have felt left out, Kim and Kourtney often felt attacked for their parenting beliefs. Kim and Kourtney are advocates of eating the placenta after birth, but the rest of this family find the idea disgusting. According to Kourtney and Kim, there are many health benefits to this, but their family found the evidence unsubstantial and the idea nauseating. The placenta advocates accused their family of being close-minded and decided to teach them a lesson with an epic prank. Kourtney invited everyone over for dinner and had a professional chef whip up a tasty dish of cooked meat. After encouraging everyone to try it, Kourtney and Kim revealed that they had just eaten placenta. The two sisters claimed to have ordered it on the internet and watched their family members absolutely lose their minds. Although to be fair, it's hard to blame them for being upset over having accidentally eaten placenta. Kourtney and Kim let their family members feel rage and disgust for a few days before letting them in on their secret. What they had eaten was simply some brisket and definitely didn't come from a human being. Pregnancy prank. When we found out Kylie Jenner was pregnant, some people suspected it was a ruse designed to generate publicity. Although it turned out to be true, you can't blame people for being suspicious when the Kardashian family has a history of joking about this kind of thing. Kendall Jenner stopped by the set of cocktails with Khloe, and the sisters decided to play a prank on Kim Kardashian. Now, as far as pranks go, pretending to be pregnant is about as lame as you can get. It doesn't require any creativity, it's not clever, and it's frankly a pretty mean thing to do to your family and friends. As much much as we don't approve of this joke, Kim's reaction was so hilariously classic Kim, we had to mention it. On the show, Kendall calls big sister Kim and tells her that she's with child. Instead of congratulating her, expressing concern, or doing any of the normal things one might expect, Kim turns this right around and immediately begins talking about herself. She complains about what a tough time she had being pregnant and how little sleep she gets with babies being in the house. While the prank itself wasn't very funny, Kim's tone-deaf reaction definitely was. If you thought these pranks were funny, be sure to check out our friends at Crafty Hackers who have some hilarious ideas for pranks you can try yourself. Not only that, but they have great ideas for crafts and DIY hacks. Make sure you leave them a like and subscribe so you don't miss any new Crafty Hackers content. Out of all the pranks we've seen on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, we have to name Scott Disick the prank master. Let us know who your favorite prankster is in the comments section. Before you go, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications to get the latest videos from the taco. Bye for now.